John Benton, and I was an aviation electronic technician first class. And I can't remember all the countries right now, but we went to a lot of time in Italy, a lot of time in Spain. I remember those really well. And then back to the States. And in between, we got back to the States. Well, I hadn't had my turn at the chow hall. So it's like when you're a young sailor, everybody has to do something. Like they send you for 2 or 3 months on the ship. It was compartment cleaning. So you basically, the maid, somebody's got to clean the heads. I mean, we had 6,000 guys on the ships. That was before the women were on the ships. But so I had to do a bit of that. When I got back to Oceana, I went to the mess hall for 3 months, and I actually liked it. I mean, throw me in that briar patch. I had a good time. At 6 o'clock in the morning, I'm cooking omelets. So you tell me how you want it, I'll make it. And making salads for lunch and dinner and stuff like that. And I actually enjoyed it. And then that was the summer of '76. And that fall, we did a North Atlantic cruise, and we sailed out of Norfolk. And I'm trying to remember our first stop. We went to, I think it was Portsmouth, England, and pulled in there for, I forget how long we were in port, but we were there long enough to take trips. I went to London and went to the Fleet Air Arm Museum at Yeovilton, and there were things I wanted to do, take train rides and so forth. Saw Stonehenge and Winchester Cathedral and all of downtown London. The next stop after Portsmouth, we went to Brest, France, and I don't think we were there that long, but long enough to go into town and have snails for dinner one day, escargot. And then the next stop after that was Wilhelmshaven, West Germany, because it was still West Germany. It was before they were united. And I don't remember a whole lot from that. I mean, but then after that we went to Edinburgh, Scotland, and pulled in there, and this was all on North Atlantic exercise. We wound up across the Arctic Circle off of Norway. I forget the sequence. I think we crossed the Arctic Circle, so we got the Blue Nose certificates. We lost an F-14 off the flight deck one day, and it's funny because Senior Chief Stripling, I don't know if you talked to him, he was a VP-68 guy. He's here this weekend. He was on the ship the same time I was, but I didn't know him until I got to VP-68. But he was in that squadron, and so the aircraft was fully armed. It had the 6 Phoenix missiles on it, and they went to, they weren't even on the catapults. Uncommanded, full throttle, and the crew couldn't do anything about it. Thing starts going off the bow of the ship, went over to the side. They punched out, both of them parachuted down on the flight deck. One of them got hurt. I think they both got hurt. One guy got hurt worse than the other. And then we had Senior Chief Stripling says it was the same day, but I remember that. We had a routine where we would have supply ships come alongside, and we would take on fuel or ammunition. We used helicopters to do that. They ran ropes over and hoses and all this stuff, so it was at sea refueling. We had a destroyer come alongside, and something happened there. They wound up colliding with us. they got more damage than we did, but their CO, I think he probably got relieved of command. But then we went to Edinburgh, and we got into Edinburgh, and of course you don't tie up anywhere. We were out in the harbor, so to run, and the seas were too rough for the Liberty boats, and the Liberty boats were 110 feet long. You know, they're not little ones. You know, they're good size. They're probably, if you've ever been on a cruise, like, you know, Carnival or whatever, about the same size as one of those. The water was too rough for those, so they came out and got us in tugboats and took us to shore. Well, that night, and we were only going to be there for 3 days, I think, 3 or 4 days. And that night, a storm rolled in, and we couldn't get back to the ship. So I remember eating fish and chips and all that stuff, and drinking some beers, and then found out we couldn't get back to the ship. So the British Army came around collecting all the sailors in buses, and they took us to a British Army barracks there in Edinburgh, and that's where we stayed the night. It wasn't individual rooms or anything. It was like one long bay, and there must have been 100 guys on each floor. But they fed us breakfast the next morning. What they call it, Banger sausage, beans. I forget if we even had any eggs, but it was a decent breakfast. And then they got us back down to the port there, and we had to take a tugboat back out there, and there must have been 200 or 300 of us below decks in this, and it was an ocean-going tug. It was not a smaller tug like you might see out here at Chesapeake Bay, or if you went to Norfolk. It was a pretty good-sized tug. And then on the ship, and I think it seems like we had one more stop in Portsmouth and then back to the States.